What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Games, and today I am bringing you an opening for, of course, the structure deck of Freezing Chains. The deck that technically won the official poll, and I wasn't going to buy this deck myself, to be totally honest, but then me, Joe and Donald have been working around with a build for it, and it worked out really, really nice. So I thought, you know, let's buy this product, let's see what we actually get in the structure deck, see what the rarities are, see if there's any special tokens or anything like that, and kind of go from there. So with that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh content from the channel. As we have opened up the structure deck, we will be bringing you a budget version of the build that can compete and will also have a combo with it as well. Off the back of that, I will attempt to take this to locals on the Friday, and I may even use this as part of my next sealed only challenge. With that out of the way, let's get into today's opening for the structure deck of Freezing Chains. So, as you can see, Freezing Chains pretty much standard as it is. Paper mat, and you get the deck in here as well. It currently sits, I think it's just a 37 common cards, 3 super rares, 6 ultra rares, and 1 double-sided deluxe game mat, dueling guide and tips. So, don't know how deluxe it can be, but anyway. So Ice Barriers involve some of the strongest monsters around, or strongest synchro monsters that we know of today, in the form of Trish, the Dragon of the Ice Barrier, Brianak, Gungnir, and if those names sound familiar, of course they come off the back of the Necros. Now, there is an official event going on with these, where you can get a rubber-based mat of this, which I think is really cool. You've got the brand new triple-headed Trish there, and then you've got Gungnir right down there. And then you've got tips and tricks, so talking about Rise of the Duelist, Blazing Vortex, Phantom Rage, a couple of little combos that you can do as well. These are always helpful for those that get into the deck. So, I'm going to open up the deck, show you what we've got, show you the rarities, and then we'll talk about the overall thoughts on this deck in general, and kind of go from there. So, bear with me 2 seconds. Starting off, to be fair, I'm quite happy with the first card as an ultra rare, because through testing, this is probably like the best new, or the second best, depending on which kind of side of the coin you fall on, card in the Ice Barrier. So this is the brand new one, Reveler of the Ice Barrier. It is a spellcaster. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, you cannot, your opponent cannot tribute summon. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can discard 1 card, special on 1 Ice Barrier tuner from your deck. Also, you cannot special on monsters for the rest of the turn except water monsters. If this card you control, if you would discard or send a card or cards from the hand to the graveyard except to activate an Ice Barrier monster's effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard instead. So that's kind of good for like longevity as well, and other Ice Barrier effects. Now this is the other cool Ice Barrier, and I'm glad this got an ultra rare as well. So this is Speaker for the Ice Barriers. So while you control another Ice Barrier monster, defense position monsters opponent controls cannot change their battle position. Only use each of the following effects once per turn. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can banish this card from the graveyard, special on 1 Ice Barrier token, level 1 Aqua Water, and that's kind of cool as well because it helps you extend your synchro plays and is very important towards the combo that I'll show you on tomorrow's profile. We've then got Yugioh of the Ice Barrier. Now this was a jump promo in the OCG, and this was kind of a card that they've given us. I don't know why they give this as if it's like a bonus, but I'm glad it came in the structure deck. At this point it's an ultra, but I'm glad we get 6 ultras in this set in general. You can tribute this card, special on 1 level 5 or higher Ice Barrier monster from your hand. If this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can target 1 level 3 or higher water monster you control, reduce its level by exactly 2, and if you do, special on this card but banish it when it leaves the field. Only use each of the following, you can only use each of the effects once per turn. So again, it's a nice little utility card, especially if you're going pure Ice Barriers. So yeah. We've then got Winds over the Ice Barrier. Again, I love the artwork on this, so I'm actually really happy it's got an ultra as well. To tribute any number of Ice Barrier monster, special summon from your deck that many level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monsters with different names from each other. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target one of your Ice Barrier monsters that is banished during the graveyard and add it to your hand. The penultimate one, of course, is going to be the brand new Trish. So you've got the Trishula Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Really, really like this card. It is a level 11, I believe. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. Yep. requires 1 tuner plus 2 or more non-tuners. When this card is synchro summoned, you can banish up to 3 cards your opponent controls. If this synchro summon card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Trish Dragon of the Ice Barrier from your extra deck or graveyard. Its attack becomes 3,300, then halve the attack of any face-up monster your opponent currently controls. Also negate their effects. Now, that effect is really, really cool, but the biggest issue is it says your opponent has to destroy it by card effect. So, if they're smart, they're bouncing it or banishing it or just not destroying it outright. And the last ultra rare, which I'm a little bit disappointed with because I don't like it when a card that already has a higher rarity gets a reprint in this, because I would rather that the cards that are utilising it, maybe even like Gwaine, becomes a super and ultra. So we've got, of course, along the Tiger King of the Ice Barrier, which is also good to get, but I think this could have been a super or lower. Again with Brio, I think that's a wasted super. And the same with Gungnir and with Trish. I mean, it's cool to have them all the same, but I would have liked something like this, General Wayne, to be a super. So they're all kind of cool. It's nice to get them in the set. I just think they could have been commons instead of taking up foil spots. Now let's go through the main deck. Now there is going to be one massive difference you're going to see or not see, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So we've got Gwaine, General Wayne of the Ice Barrier. So spell and traps sent from the field to your opponent's graveyard are banished. Instead, you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If your opponent controls a monster and you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from the hand. If this card is normal or special, you can add 1 Ice Barrier spell or trap from your deck. So it's a shame that it's a level 5, but because it has that special summon effect, it's kind of nice to get you into all of your other Ice Barrier cards, because obviously you can get the brand new 1 wins as well. So you'll probably be playing 3 of him. Hex's Spirit of the Ice Barrier, again, is another new one. It is a tuner. So while you control another Ice Barrier monster, monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. During your main phase, you can special summon you can send 1 level 3 or lower Ice Barrier monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's level becomes the same as that monster's until the end of this turn. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. Now, it's a little bit disappointed that it becomes a level and doesn't add to that level, because if it added to the level, then you had a really nice combo to go off of Reveler, because Reveler can discard any cards, special summon this guy out, and then this guy can become a level 4, and then you can make Bahamut, Shark, and Toad. Blizzard, Defender of the Ice Barrier. If this card is destroyed by battle sent to the graveyard, draw 1 card. Cryomancer of the Ice Barrier. So while you control another Ice Barrier monsters, level 4 or higher monsters cannot declare an attack. Is actually useful in the profile. This prayer, like, I didn't play Ice Barriers before, but this card confuses the heck out of me. Like, how can you have a card? So if you control an Ice Barrier monster, you can special summon this card from hand. Beautiful, love it, amazing. You cannot special summon any level 5 or higher monster the turn you summon this way. You can treat this card type 1 Ice Barrier monster in your graveyard, accept itself, and special summon it. So, let me get this right. I mean, that effect's amazing. It's good that they don't have, like, a level 9, a level 7, a level 6, a level 11, or even another level 6 that they would synchro summon. Go figure. What a weird kind of clause to have on this card. I mean, it works in the deck because it's a level 2 Aqua, so you can go into totally awesome. But I just think I said this to Donald when he was like, when I went through it and I was looking through the Ice Barriers, I was like, why would you create a card that completely contradicts what the deck is trying to do? It just makes no sense. You then got Defender of the Ice Barrier, so level 3 tuner. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, monsters your opponent controls cannot declare an attack if their attack is greater than or equal to this card's defense. So if it's more than 1600, they can't attack. Warlock of the Ice Barrier. While you control another Ice Barrier monster, both players must set spell and trap cards before activating them and cannot activate them until the next turn. So it's basically an anti-spell and a monster. Spellbreaker of the Ice Barrier. Once per turn, send 1 Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard. Neither player can activate spell cards until the end of the next turn, while this monster is face up on the field. That's kind of like a little cool one. I don't mind that. Strategist of the Ice Barrier. Once per turn, send 1 Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard, draw 1 card. Okay. Dance Princess of the Ice Barrier. Once per turn, if you control another Ice Barrier monster, you reveal any number of Ice Barrier monsters in your hand, then target an equal number of set spell or traps your opponent controls and return those targets to the hand. Dai Sojo, the Ice Barrier. If this is normal or flip, change it to defense position. Ice Barrier monsters you control cannot be destroyed by spell and trap effects. Cool. General. I'm not really going to go, I don't need to go over all of them, but when your opponent monster's effect is activated on the field, they must discard 1 card or the effect is negated. So that's kind of a nice one. Medium of the Ice Barrier, your opponent could, if your opponent controls 4 or more cards than you do, you can special on this card. From the hand, your opponent can only activate 1 spell or trap card each turn. So that's kind of a nice one. It's kind of like a bit of a Denko, and also a bit of an anti-spell as well, which is kind of nice. General Gantala. Once per turn during the end phase, you can type one Ice Barrier monster in your graveyard, except himself, and special summon it. End phase, just a little bit too slow. Gardener of the Ice Barrier. During the main phase, you can normal summon one Ice Barrier monster in addition to your normal summon set. Great, but why are you like a level 8? Like, how am I going to easily get you out on the board? Then we've got Gen X Controller and Gen X Undying, nice little reprints. Aqua Spirit, just a free water extender. Duke Frog, Ronin, and Swap. No swap. Like, why give us Ronin and Duke but not swap? Like, come on, I know it just came out in Duvo, but give us swap. Fishborg Launcher is actually pretty good in the combo. Mooning Glacier, the Elemental Lord. Silent Angler, free water summon. And then we've got Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier. So when this card is activated, you type one level 4 or lower Ice Barrier monster in your graveyard and special summon it. While you control 3 or more Ice Barrier monsters you control are unaffected by activated effects of your opponent's monsters, those special summoned from the extra deck. I mean, that's quite a high cost in a sense to have 3 Ice Barriers to only then be protected from the extra deck. So, Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier. Reveal 3 Ice Barrier monsters with different names from your hand, then target one card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it targets and it destroys. So it's kind of like, okay. We've then got Medallion of the Ice Barrier, basically just a rotor to add any Ice Barrier monster from your deck to your hand. So 9 out of 10, you're probably going to be searching out your Reveler, or you're going to be searching out your Speaker. Mirror of the Ice Barrier. So during the turn, each time a card or cards is banished from your hand, field and or graveyard by your opponent's activated monster effect, apply one of the following effects based on where the card was. Hand, banish up to 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Field, banish up to 2 cards your opponent controls. Or graveyard, banish up to 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard. So, it's a bit annoying because it's like, it's a card that has to be banished from your hand, your field, your graveyard. It's like, again, that contradicts what the deck wants to do. Like, the deck wants to make Trish. The deck wants to make the new Trish. It wants to banish your opponent's stuff. So, like, this should have been an additional effect on that. Salvage, a nice little reprint for the deck. So is Surface. Where Art Thou? Little bit random, but I suppose it kind of works. A Pointer's a nice reprint. It's not as staple as it once was, but it is a nice reprint to get. Finish change is like 2016. Ibishan, if a non-water monster or monsters is normal or special, while you control water monster, change that special monster's defense position. Again, it's kind of like lose one turn. Really good kind of card back before links. Now it's just like, alright, whatever. It doesn't negate the effects or anything. So you just put a monster on board, still get the effect off, make a link monster, can't be switched. Mind Drain, okay. Heavy Storm Duster, again, okay. Crackdown, again, okay. Had a couple of reprints, but it's alright. And then the final card is Terror of Trishula. Apply these effects in sequence depending on the number of Ice Barrier Synchro monsters you control with different names. 1. Banish 1 card your opponent controls. 2. Banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard. And 3. Banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. So it's basically Trish in Trap, but you need to control 3 Ice Barrier Synchros. With different names. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets an Ice Barrier Synchro monster or monsters you control, banish this card from the graveyard. Negate that effect. Only use each of the following effects once per turn. And then, of course, we've got the free promotional kind of things. I like collecting these ones specifically as like tokens, but you collect the others as well. But it's always nice to get these. So, Ice Barrier Structure Deck. Yes or no? Well, if you're an Ice Barrier fan, yes. If you are a Water Deck fan, then yes. I mean, these are currently sitting at £7 to £8, depending on where you're buying them from. I think these 2 cards are insanely good. They're great for pretty much all Water decks because this is just a generic discard. So, what Reveler does is Reveler can set up your graveyard, discard, and then summon out any Ice Barrier tuner. So ideally what you can end up going for, and what you'll probably go for, and what 9 times out of not is Cryomancer, because he's a level 2 tuner Aqua, so not only does it instigate Halley Fibrex plays, but it also instigates plays to go into Totally Awesome. The fact that this can then be banished to create you a token, again, is very, very helpful. You just need to make sure that you control an Ice Barrier monster when you activate the effect to produce that token, which again shouldn't be too hard to do. Hex's Spirit of the Ice Barrier is an okay card. It's another card that can come off the back of Reveler. If you play more Ice Barriers, then of course you can change its level and adapt it, depending on what you want to sync to. But it's only ever going to be able to go... I mean, you could technically synchro it with Reveler, but the issue is most of the good... Trish monsters, or most of the good Ice Barrier monsters, are all going to be 1 plus 2 others, so you do need to get another card to the field. I think these are the 2 standouts. I think the new Trish is cool to have at 1, because it is slightly generic. Zujin, again, is really kind of cool for the deck specifically. It's just a shame that it doesn't help extend your plays too much. Gwaine, I keep calling it Gwaine, because it's General Wayne. General Wayne's kind of a cool card as well for the deck. They got really nice cards, but if you were to kind of like rate this on a scale of like where the structure decks that have come out recently are. Obviously, Salamangreats, in my opinion, is number one because the reprints is great, the productivity of it as well, really, really good, and obviously the staple cards. And then you look at stuff like Dinos, Shadows, ABCs, everything like that. This is probably more around near the Charmer area, where the deck itself isn't amazing. It hasn't got the best reprints around. There's not really insane staples that have been reprinted, but as an Ice Barrier fan, you're going to want to get it. And as a water deck player as well, you might want to get a couple of little cards just as a mini engine to work with. And you'll see more of what we do with the profile that comes out later on tonight as well. So the one big card that was missing from this that the OCG get was, of course, Crossout Designator. Now, I understand that because on the level of cards, if you were to put Crossout Designator in this deck, I don't think... It probably would have sold the deck more, but it wouldn't have been on that same level. Like, if you put Crossout Designator as a secret or a starlight or whatever in a side set, or even if you wanted to make it a ghost in Ghost of the Past, everything would rocket through the roof to try and sell that set. Whereas with this structure deck, I think they've kind of gone, you know what, I don't think we need to put anything in here to sell it. We just need to, you know, they've won the poll, so hopefully we've done them justice enough to sell it. Like I said, good little deck. I'm definitely going to be putting a deck together for you and show you what we can get. Donald will probably put a pure Ice Barrier deck together for you as well and utilise it and play around with it and go from there. But for now, as absolutely always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.